Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special presentation of the Red Light Sports Network. I'm here today with Logan Thimon, and he is a junior at Freeport High School, and he has verbally committed to play football at West Virginia. So he's our Spotlight Player of the Week, and I wanted to come out, ask Logan a few questions about football, about his commitment to West Virginia, also talk about some things that are real big topics right now in football. One will be safety of football with concussions, and the other, of course, that comes out is enhancement drugs. It's one thing that the NFL is talking about, and so I want to get Logan's thoughts as a high school player, how he progresses through these things. So Logan, thank you for taking time to meet with me today.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
So talk to me about the commitment to West Virginia. I mean, why did you decide on that program?
Well, it was definitely an easy decision for me. Earlier in the off season, I want to say a tour of camps. I went to a bunch of different campuses, a bunch of different football camps, and got to, perform in front of the coaches, meet the coaches, see the facilities, and just decide. I mean, obviously every facility was unbelievable. Every team is a very high respected team, but I say the ultimate factor for me was the coaching staff at West Virginia. Just the family feel I get whenever I walk on that field is just unbelievable. My high school team is very close, and just to continue that feeling into college is very important to me.
Well, and I had talked to your mom, and I know you guys went down to the Baylor game.
Right.
And so when you're down there now as a spectator, knowing that that's where you're going to play, how does it make you feel to be in that stadium knowing that in 2 years you're going to be playing on that field?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm antsy sitting in the stands. I can't contain myself half the time. I just want to jump in right there. But seeing where I'm going to be in a few years, just unbelievable. Knowing that I know exactly where I'm going to be, who I'm going to be playing for, what I'm going to be doing. It's just a great feeling to have.
And I saw a couple pictures on social media. Someone said the recruiting trail with West Virginia. And it really does look like they're inviting you in as part of the family.
Right.
So when you look at that coaching staff, as far as that mentality, how important is that to you as a player for things outside of football?
That's very, very important to me. I want to know I have someone to go to, like a father figure, anytime I want to talk. I know that's how it is in high school, and I love that. I feel like I can continue that. I don't feel like a product when I'm in West Virginia. I feel like I'm part of a family, part of something bigger than just a football team, and that's a great feeling to have.
Sure, and we're going to talk a little later about academics in high school, but your plan is to graduate early in high school and enroll for the spring semester at West Virginia. Why did you make that decision?
Well, it wasn't a thought of mine until my defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, was talking to me at West Virginia, and he said it might be a good choice to have, and I looked into it and I looked at the benefits, and not only working with the team early, getting a head start on football, but just being able to get those early classes, getting a head start on my education, I think is going to be a big benefit.
Wonderful. And I know you and I talked off camera a little bit about possibility of playing, redshirting. In your mind as a player, I know that you want to play right away, but when you look at your opportunities, is redshirting a possibility when you enroll?
Oh, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, obviously I'd love to play as early as possible, but that extra year of just getting bigger, getting stronger, getting smarter as a football player is definitely going to benefit me. So.
Sure. Now, when you look at the opportunity to go to school academically, have you decided what you're going to major in yet?
I have not. I have a good idea. I'm going back and forth between pre-med and engineering. I'm not exactly sure yet. After season's over now, so I'm going to try to shadow some people, see what I want to do, but it's definitely narrowed down to those two fields. For sure.
Wonderful. You're a lot farther than I was when I went to college. Yeah. I changed my major 8 times.
Yeah.
I tell people this story. I went to school for the wrong reasons. I went just to play athletics, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. It sounds to me that it's very important to you academically. When you weigh the balances between academics and football, why is it so important to have that academic background?
Well, obviously football is my entire life right now, but I've always known that I have to focus on academics. You never know, any snap, any play, your career can be over as a football player. So it's important to have that academic background, know that football is not going to last forever, but your education will.
Certainly, nobody can take that away from you.
Absolutely.
So let's go to the ultimate goal. I mean, I know you're only in high school, you still get your senior year, then a career at West Virginia. I had joked with you on the phone that, 10 years from now, I can say, hey, I interviewed that guy as you're playing on Sundays in the NFL. Yeah. So is that a goal for you?
That's definitely a goal. I mean, I would love nothing more than to have football be my profession, but I'm not going to rely on it. I know I have to get my education. I can't I can't automatically assume I'm going to go to the NFL. I have far lengths to go before I'm even at that level, but if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I thought I'd be playing football for West Virginia, I would have said no way. So, I mean, I believe that hard work pays off and dreams come true, so just gonna keep working at it.
You and I were talking also that you, I guess, would be considered a late bloomer as far as starting football. Right. You didn't start till 7th grade. So when you look at that path, starting in 7th grade, how did you get to where you're at, as physically and your skill level?
Well, I've always been, I consider a really hard worker. My dad's always stressed to me, off-season training is a big deal. He played college football, so he knows what it's like. And I don't know, my parents just both decided that 7th grade would be a good age for me. My body's developed. I can get a base in working out, getting stronger, and just the off-season training, talking with my coaches since it was the first time I ever played football, having them tell me what specifically I can do to train for football, and I watched a lot of film on the high school team when I was in junior high, just watching my position, seeing how I can develop, watching those guys and see how they move, how they react to stuff, and I think that really helped me out as well. Wonderful.
So when you talk about workouts, what is your workout strategy? I know that you have your workout through high school, but now the season's over. And so what do you really focus on to work out? And, now that you've committed to West Virginia, I'm sure that part of it is bulking up to play in the college game. How do you determine how you're going to work out? And take me through, I guess a weekly workout for Logan.
Well, I'll tell you what, I actually try to change it up as much as possible because I found that with my body, I'll work out for 3 weeks in a row and I'll make big progress. But from there, too many people, I feel, try to keep going at it and keep pushing forward where you will make progress, but you just have to change it up. You need to completely flip your workout, change things completely. So I'll go 2 weeks at a time, completely bulking while, getting as big as I can, where then I'll switch it up and I'll work on my strength, low reps, very high weight, get my strength up. And the whole time, it's definitely important, speed, for sure, speed, keep that speed up. No matter what the workout is, I always make sure I get my speed training in, run my sprints, do my agility training every day, and that's definitely a big, big factor in college football.
Now, off season, and I know you've attended some camps. How many camps, as you look through the years, 7th grade to now, how many camps have you attended, and how important was it for you to go to those summer camps?
Well, I just started the summer camps after my 10th grade season. Okay. Because when I first started doing my camps, I went to Pitt, Penn State, Akron, Toledo, Ohio State, all the Division I schools around here, just to get exposure, get my name out there, as well as work with some of the best recruits in the nation and, see how I went face-to-face with them. But that was definitely a big part of recruiting. The coaches, everything's online now. They see your film online, but at the same time, if you go to a small school, I go to a very small AA school, you need to get your name out there, put yourself in front of them in person, and that's a big part now in recruiting. If I had to give anyone advice, is to just show yourself to the coaches and show them what you can do face-to-face.
And that's leading me to the next question. You've went down the path, 7th grade to now, got a major college, playing ball at major college. You have a young kid that's maybe playing in, Pop Warner football right now, middle school football. They have those same dreams. Give them one bit of advice. What would you give them?
I would say just focus on you. I remember being in 7th grade looking up at these high school players thinking, man, I'll never be as big as them, I'll never be as good as them. But you have to also keep in mind the experience they have over you. Just keep focusing on you, work on you, evaluate yourself and see what you need to work on as a player. Just focus on that. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't worry about what everyone else is saying. Just keep doing you and keep doing your thing, and everything will work out.
Wonderful. Now, as you're working out and you're developing, were there any players that you kind of look at and say, hey, I want to emulate that player, or this is a player I really look up to, whether it's high school football or college, NFL? Do you have any of those players that you want to emulate?
I remember growing up 7th and 8th grade, there was one particular player for our high school team, John Turner. He graduated when I was in 8th grade, but I remember watching him play, and he was just a complete animal, played the same position I do right now for my high school team, and I just always wanted to be like him. I talked with him as much as possible, and just not only was he a beast on the field, but just off the field, such a nice guy. And now that I'm in the high school level and I'm playing high school ball, I'm looking at West Virginia, and I know their middle linebacker, Nick Kwiatkowski, is definitely a big role model for me. Just the way he plays. I want to say it reminds me a lot of myself, but how I would love to be as a player. He's very physical, hard-working kid, and very nice off the field, and I really respect that.
That's great. So you mentioned something, and I'll go back then to it. Choosing West Virginia, is it kind of that mentorship that you're looking at then? When you look at those guys and say, hey, this is a group of guys that I can fit in with and they can help me grow, is that part of it?
Absolutely. I feel like the players there, I haven't got to talk to them as much as I'd like to yet, but from what I have seen, they're very close, extremely close, especially for a college football team where, it's not as close as high school, but I feel like they're even closer than what I would expect. That's great for me to see. Unfortunately, he'll be gone whenever I'm coming in, but there's a lot of underclassmen down there that I feel that really will take care of me. And, since I'm just my first time in a college environment, I think that I'll be okay in their hands.
Good. So take me now to, if I'm an offensive coordinator, and I'm playing against Logan, I watch you on film, what are the things that you do really well on the football field?
Well, I'd say one thing I hate is when people try to get away from me. I'd say avoid the middle as much as possible. I love, as soon as I see that ball coming up the middle, I love flying to it. I love throwing my body up in that pile. I love being in heavy traffic, just knocking people around. But spread offense, you just throw that ball to the corner, get them away from me, have me chase them down. I'll still try to get there, but it's going to be a big pain in my butt trying to do it. So that's just one thing I've noticed people trying to do that driven me crazy in the past.
And then as far as the things that you think you do really well as a player, you're lining up playing defense and your defensive coordinator, how do they utilize your skill? Where are your big strengths?
I would just say downhill player. If I see the ball, I don't care where it's at on the field, I'm trying to fly to that ball. I don't take any plays off. I would just say I always want to show them that I'm going 110% every play. I'm not the kind of kid that I see the ball going to thrown up to the corner of the end zone. I'm a linebacker. I'm sprinting to the corner of the end zone. Just in case, you never know that ball's going to be tipped. You never know the corner's going to slip a tackle. You got to make it. So just flying around everywhere and just spreading myself around the field as much as possible.
Now, linebacker, you look at the college linebackers today, they've got to be fast.
Oh, yeah.
And you had mentioned agility and speed. How are you at covering that tight end coming off the line?
I love jamming tight ends, I'd say, more than wide receivers. I like just playing off and just letting them come to me. The tight ends, I jam them as much as possible, reroute them as much as possible, make it hard for them to get to the football, make it hard for them to get that vision even to the quarterback.
Now moving in, you got 1 year left in high school. Senior year in high school, what are you hoping to accomplish in your senior year next year when you hit the field?
Well, as far as specific statistics, I really don't have any. My goals every day are just to go out and know that I'm giving 100% every play, know that I'm not taking anything off, because I want my coaches to know that I'm there for them for the next year. My head's not in West Virginia yet. I'm still with my high school for the next year. So my goal is just to let them see that I'm going to be there 100% for my team and my coaches, and I'm going to perform and play my butt off for the next year.
Well, and I know Freeport didn't have a great year this year. We talked about it, done playing already, no playoffs. What's the outlook for next year? I mean, I would imagine that's a goal for you as a senior to make the playoffs.
Yes.
And so when you look at it, I know it's early, just done with your junior year, but what's the outlook for your senior season as a team?
Well, every year, we'd like to surpass our goals from the previous year. This year, we wanted to have a winning season because we were just down in the dumps from the previous season. We lost a lot of seniors, but we've grown up a lot since then. We have a lot of returning starters, so I think just this offseason is going to be a big role in getting bigger, faster, stronger, smarter, and come out and get a playoff spot next year and show the teams that we're ready to play and we're done getting pushed around and we're ready to bring back that Freeport mentality that we had in the past.
That's awesome. Good luck to you in your senior year. I'll definitely be following you. Now, I wanted to touch on the two big issues that are coming up in football right now. We hear about enhancement drug use, and it's something, like you said, you've been working out, you work on a lot of things. When you hear about these things, on the news, you see these NFL players that are testing positive for enhancement drugs. What goes through your mind as a high school player? What are you thinking?
Well, it's really disappointing for me anytime I hear stories of people using enhancement drugs. I feel that the best enhancement you can do for yourself is just determination. You know, having that determination, that's the best drive you can get as a football player. Having goals set higher than people would even think you could reach, and just pushing yourself, thinking every day about where you want to be, and just driving yourself. But I feel that as far as enhancement drugs go, I think that the reward is much less than the backfire of them. I mean, you see guys just their bodies completely destroyed. They're dying before their 40th birthday from these drugs just getting to them, and I just don't see why anyone would want to do that to themselves. When, I mean, I wouldn't even want the benefits knowing that I had to cheat my way to get there.
Exactly. And the reason I brought it up with you is because of your story. I mean, you started, you've grown up, you work out hard, and now you've made it to major college football with pure determination, good goals, and it sounds to me a lot of support system around you.
Absolutely.
So when you look at your support system, how important is it right now in your life to have that great support system? You mentioned your dad was a former college football player. I had a chance to meet your mom. Very supportive of what you want to do in your goals. And how important is it to have that support system?
Well, that's extremely important, you know, being able to stand on the field, look up in the stands, and know that my entire family's there. They support what I want to do 110%. They do absolutely anything for me. My grandparents, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, all of them are just extremely supportive. And I know that anything I want to do, they're going to be there to support me. It doesn't matter what it is. They're going to be there to keep pushing me forward. Even if I'm down, they're going to pick me up and keep me moving. And that's really important to me.
Well, I say this from my former days of coaching. You know, I met a lot of parents that are they have great sons or daughters that are athletes, and it seems like the parents are the ones that they're trying to live in their children's shoes. From what I got from your support system, they're right there pushing you right to the top, and they want to see you succeed.
Absolutely.
Every day. So when you look at, you know, some players that don't have that support system on your team right now, what do you do personally off the field to help mentor those type people?
Well, I bring them into my family. I mean, our entire football team is a family. We're each other's brothers, and we do have players on the team who might not have had the support from their immediate family that they would have liked, but we actually just did our senior speeches the other day, and kids have talked about how football is their family, and they know that their coaches are their father figures in a way. So just bringing them into us, knowing that anytime they're down, it doesn't matter if it's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, they can call us, and anyone on that team would be there to support them.
That's awesome. Now, do you think, you know, you look at it, you know, like you said, small community, small football town. Do you think there's an advantage to playing football at a place like Freeport compared to a big city school in Pittsburgh?
And not a doubt in my mind, that's definitely a huge advantage. You know, on the field, people might not realize it, but the closer you are off the field, the better you're going to perform on the field, knowing that no matter what, you're going to have your players back, and you're going to be there to give them 110%, and not just play for yourself, but play for them as well. But I mean, if you're not close on the field, you're falling apart, you're not maybe going to go that extra length and give that extra effort for your team, and that's sometimes a big factor in loss, I feel.
Wonderful. And so the last thing we hear a lot about right now, Logan, is the concussion.
Yeah.
That is the concussions that are going on right now. NFL, college, high school, even, you know, midget football. I know you said you never had a concussion, but being a current player, take me through what the trainers do, preventative measures with the concussion. You were telling me a great story about a guy that wasn't really diagnosed with one, but what did the team and the physicians do to make sure that it didn't get any worse?
Well, before the season even starts, a few weeks before the season starts, we all have to, before we even put on gear, we have to take a concussion test, just a baseline test with a healthy brain at that time to see where you're at, and to test your memorization, your thinking abilities, and all that. And then we go through a week of just heat conditioning and everything like that. And once we got into the season, there was one player that got big hit during a game, went down, came, you know, sort of said he was dizzy, his head hurt a little bit, so he was showing signs of a concussion, and our trainer immediately pulled him out, said, "You are not going back in that game until we can get you tested." And the next day he took a concussion test again to compare it to the first one, and we were able to diagnose it was not a concussion. He was not diagnosed with concussion. He was able to return to play. But even before that, just in case, you can never be too careful, and our trainer is very good with this. He went through just a few days of just concussion rehabilitation, just on the sidelines with gear, just building him back up, even though he wasn't diagnosed. He's just very good with making sure we don't want to make any risk, and the player is more important than the game. So he's not putting anyone back in a situation that could put him in any harm.
You mentioned something important, player more important than the game. And you and I have both heard of these crazy stories where coaches want to win at all costs. You hear about little kids playing with concussions, NFL players going back. There's lawsuits now saying coaches made me play. You know, I just want to get your thoughts on that. You hear about this play at all costs mentality, but as a player, how do you feel about that?
As a player, I know I want to play at all costs, but as far as the coach made me play, I'd say it's the complete opposite. As far as what I've seen as a player, I know that there's been numerous times where kids have gotten hurt and they were ready to go back in the game. They wanted to go back in the game, and our coaches and our trainers said, absolutely not, you're not ready. And that's the hammer fist, that's the ultimate deciding factor. And if he doesn't feel you're ready, you're not going in. And I think that's probably saved a lot of people. We might not know it, but I think that's saved a lot of people from serious injury.
Sure. As a player, you want to play, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, have you ever had that type where you've had an injury, not a concussion, but just an injury you wanted to play and the coach kept you out?
Yeah, there has been times where, you know, I've just gotten tweaked up a little bit and maybe had a deep thigh bruise. I wasn't walking right, but I was ready to get back in the game. And I remember specifically one time my trainer pulled me off the field by the helmet, saw I was limping, and he iced me down, you know, made me do some sprints back and forth before I went in the game. And he did let me go back in, but it was hard. He made me go through a little bit before he put me back.
Hard to watch. So we talked a lot of football today. So let's kind of lighten it up a little bit. Off the football field, you know, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I mean, I just love being outside. I love being with my friends. I know I used to be big into paintball and snowboarding, and just hunting right now is a big thing for me. But you know, I just love being outside. I hate being cooped up inside, and we're outside right now, and this is good for me. But
perfect.
You know, just being with friends and having a good time.
Now, outside of football, any other sports you play in high school, or is it just football?
I do track. I throw discus, and I run sprints for track. But I used to do it all. I used to play basketball, baseball, wrestling. But in the off season, I just wanted to focus on football because that was the path I decided to take. And I know a lot of people do that once they get into high school. But football and track for me is all I do.
And then, you know, I do want to give you props. Academically, you found a way to combine academics off the field with football. So when you look at a number of student athletes, what would you give as the biggest way to be able to balance both academics and sports? Because athletics takes up a lot of time.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you balance both?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a big commitment to both academics and sports. You got to give up a lot. You might not be able to hang out with your friends as much as you'd like, but you know, when you get home from football, and then you lift sometimes 8 o'clock at night. Your friend calls and say, "Hey, do you want to come over?" You just got to be able to say, "You know what? No, I have a test tomorrow. I got to study, or I have a test in a few days. I got to learn my material." And not too many people can do that, but if you can, I mean, it's definitely gonna boost you forward.
Wonderful. I appreciate your time today, and I know you're going to be on our show Tuesday night. You're going to call in. We're going to interview Logan on the Red Light Sports Ramble Tuesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. We look forward to having you on the show then, and I appreciate your time today, buddy.
Thank you very much.